Everybody's having fun so far? Awesome. So, just like what Christina told me today, I only have 30 minutes, so I'm gonna try to be as fast as possible without trying to confusing you guys. So, I'm gonna directly get started. Is that okay? Awesome. So, before, I guess, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Christian, and over the past 7 years, I've been working in person and also online as a coach for people all over China. So the different things in which I've basically been helping them is specific goals, everything related to health. So it all came down to living, looking, feeling, performing their best again while navigating a high pressure life abroad or simply just living abroad, right? And this part again right here is quite important because most of the time the people who came to me or people who used to be in a certain type of way, shape or form, they used to be healthy, and then something just happens. Life, maybe you work, maybe coming to China, you lose your routine, and so you lose that version of yourself that you were proud of. And so what I've been helping them with is to pretty much go back to that version of themselves, right? I've been working with people of specific categories. So we have people from 30 to 50 on average, right? Younger, yes. Older, yes. But most of the time is within this age range right here. And usually some of them are moms, dads, people who are married with kids, or also people who are not married with kids, students as well. So a little bit of everything, really. And their roles in terms of their professional career, it all was around the idea of being executive, leadership, diplomat, and people who work in their own company or also, I'm not sure what happened here, international education. And so that have gotten me to become really good at understanding how the life of people here is going and how to help them best. I've helped them tackle all sorts of issues, right? We have cravings, drinking, motivation, lack of discipline. We have time constraint, thinking that you don't have enough time to work on yourself. We got yo-yo, plateau, not being able to see changes at all on your health, inside and outside, in terms of how you feel in your clothes. Other goals such as negative self-talk, a lot of mindset help, and body image issue, chronic fatigue, constipation, and also all kinds of other digestive problems, as well as trouble sleeping, sudden weight gain, belly fat, and also aches and joint pain. All right, and so when we read all of those, and also when those people come to me to explain me what their goals and their challenges are, usually they believe that it's because of a few reasons. They believe that it's because of lack of priority. They believe that it's because of not being tough enough. Like you need to push yourself a bit harder. They believe that it's because of age, work schedule. They believe that it's because of their body type or their personal life, etc., etc. And so it makes sense. Some of them are true, okay? It's totally true. It's totally valid for them to think that some of those areas of their lives have an impact on it. But, most of them are not really involved. And something that I've learned after 7 years of interacting with, I believe, about 300 of people at this point, I'm not sure, then it goes a little bit deeper than just the simple fact of being old. Like, I'm old, so now my back is gonna hurt. I'm old, so now I'm gonna gain weight. I have kids now, so I don't have the time. It goes a bit deeper than that. And so that's pretty much what I'm gonna be speaking about today. But first, I'm gonna put some things into perspective, just for you guys to like really be aligned with me on what I'm trying to explain. So the majority of expats, and also pretty much as well as locals that I've been working with, usually work an average of 5 to 7 days a week, very fast paced, very high pressure, very high responsibilities, or they struggle with something personal. We all have. Life is life, and like that's usually what we say. We all have things that we have to deal with. We have important responsibilities like social, familiar responsibilities. We also usually are homesick, lonely, worrying about life abroad, like how exactly things are gonna go. We also don't get enough sleep, and on top of that, we travel overseas or do a lot of activities, always leaving home, so lack of stability. That is most people, okay? I would say about 80% of the people that I've helped with, others, they're pretty lucky, they're just chilling. So it was pretty easy for us to work on making the changes. But for this category of people, mostly if you relate or not, then Nowadays, it's called normal life. It's pretty sad. Like waking up early, working like crazy. It's normal life. I don't like this term. I have something against it because I don't think it's okay to not feel our best. So that's pretty much my big mission in my online coaching program. We're gonna go deeper and address the topic of chronic stress. Right? So stress is pretty much what we qualify as us waking up every day and pretty much living our lives and doing the things that we're supposed to do and that we don't realize how much and how high it is, right? When we are chronically stressed, our body produces a hormone that is called cortisol. Maybe you guys have already heard about it, but we're gonna speak more about it today. So, so cortisol is responsible for about half of the challenges previously mentioned. You guys remember what I showed earlier, which was cravings, drinking, storage of belly fat, bad sleep, low focus, digestion problem, and those kinds of things. There is a slight connection either directly or indirectly, right? And most importantly, it slows down what we call testosterone. Testosterone is something that I like to call the hormone of life, right? Because there's a lot of good things that happens out of having good testosterone. But what happens with our daily lives that we don't necessarily realize is that when our body does not produce a good amount of testosterone, half of the other side effects happen. So we got no motivation, laziness, waking up every day, needing 5 shots of coffee, unexplained weight gain, joint pain, chronic fatigue, etc., etc. So if you look at anything related to health and well-being, like you right now, if there's something that you're currently struggling with and that you don't like in some way, shape, or form, it is related to either cortisol or pretty much just our lifestyle, right? So the first part of our session is going to be about cortisol and stress resets from a holistic approach, okay? So that you can start improving many areas of your well-being. And by the way, even if you don't feel like you have this problem, even if you don't feel like you're super stressed and that you have a good life, some of the hacks that we are going to be speaking about today are still going to be helpful. So don't leave, right? And the second part of the seminar is going to be about nutrition. We don't have a lot of time, so I was not really able to come up with literally every topic possible, but I just chose what I believe is one of the most important topics that I saw most people struggle with, which is craving, hunger, and something called diet discipline. I believe most health, well-being, and also weight problems of people come from the lack of management and the we don't know how to manage this part. So that's pretty much what we are going to be speaking about in the second part. Everybody's okay so far? I'm not going too fast? Okay. All right. Feel free to stop me if you think I'm starting to boom, 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 boom. Okay, so if your goals are, last clarification, if you want to feel better, if you want to fit in your old jeans, feel like yourself again, or just feel better, right? If you want to perform better at work, if you want to become stress proof, if you want to become this person that just gets things done every day, and if you want to regain control of your health, then this seminar is for you. If you don't want any of those goals, it's still made for you. So don't go anymore, right? So again, I initially thought I had more than 40 minutes, but I'm gonna really try to squeeze everything in. So the first part of today's seminar is gonna be to cover what I believe were the cornerstones of my client's success, so that you guys can just directly apply right away. And after that, we're gonna open up for Q&A, just for me to hear if you guys have something that you'd like to hear, right? So cortisol, what is it and how helpful and how not helpful it is, right? So before I go into helping you reset cortisol or helping you pay attention to cortisol, it's actually a good thing. It's a good hormone that our body produces. So like me right here right now, personally, standing up, trying to think fast, there is a push of cortisol that my body is creating so that I can stay calm, so that I don't freak out with a lot of people looking at me. Waking up in the morning, when your alarm rings and when you have bright light outside, the only thing that helps your body wake up is cortisol, all right? the fact of pushing through workouts, the fact of, running away, if you see an insect or an animal, all of that is reactions that our body creates, right? So cortisol is really helpful when you look at it from that perspective because it helps for short occasions where we need to try to react to something, we need to try to think hard, we need to try to change something and pretty much go from one state to another one. So short occasions, that's where it's good. But something that I found is that most people don't just get and try their hard for a short occasion. Usually it's for an entire day. They wake up from the morning, boom, 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 they go, they don't stop. So best believe that cortisol pretty much stays high all the time. And this is where we start to see tricky things. And also, if, just like what I said earlier, maybe you don't really struggle with a fast-paced lifestyle, but maybe you have some habits that you have and that you don't realize are contributing to increasing that cortisol. For example, late night phone scrolling, for example, caffeine and stimulants, and also pretty much just always working, not taking any days off, and toxic friend circles or anything else around you that you know are not really good for your mental health. Those are things that are affecting us, right? So, for context, imagine that you're in a jungle being chased by a lion, right? This yellow guy right here, the only thing that he will think of is going to be to run to save his life, nothing else, okay? He's not going to say, ah, let me sit down and try to think of eating. Let me sit down and try to think of building a house somewhere. I'm just gonna run, save my life, right? And so until we lose the line. So this is something I like to explain to my clients. Sometimes our lives are the same as being chased by a lion. We're always on the go, always alert, right? And meaning that our body is in a constant state of survival. This is why, usually, when you see someone who is always on the go, who works a lot, they struggle with sleep, crazy hunger, belly fat, focuses. All of those are survival reactions from our body. Simple example. If you struggle to sleep at night, well, you know that you had a stressful day, and when you know that you have a very stressful day, in the morning, that's simply because your body is super awake. Your body is concerned about what's happening. It's like the lion is somewhere, the lion is around. So it's make things hard for you to have your body self-regulate, be at peace. That's how I'd like to call it, right? And so this is why in my online coaching program, the restoration of lifestyle is the first phase of where I take my client. So most people, when they come to me, they say, hey, I want to lose weight, hey, I want to do this, hey, I want to do that. But this is what I usually make them do. We focus on habits, stress management, recovery, self-care, and basic nutritional changes. And simply focusing on those have helped clients like Nadia. So as you can see here, she says her main goal was to break through a plateau that had kept her stuck for several weeks to become more active and feel better in terms of energy level. And she achieved those goals in less than 1 month. No diets, no workouts, just restoration, working on stress and well-being. All right, so that's pretty how powerful it is, as well as for other clients. Okay, weight loss, feeling better, feeling more confident in their abilities to handle their day-to-day work. Okay, so we're gonna start with some habits. As I told you guys earlier, we're gonna go into some holistic part first, holistic solution, then we'll dive into the actual nutrition part of things. So we're gonna start with sleep. This is something that is just important, right? Something that I literally fight with my clients about. Get early sleep, get at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night because that's the best way that you have of self-regulating. If you wake up in the morning, if you don't feel your best, if you feel like you're just dragging yourself through the day, if you feel like you have a lot of hunger, some way, somehow it's because your sleep needs work. The second thing that you need to work on is going to be to breathe. Okay, so this is really important. Again, mostly if you have a very stressful and fast-paced lifestyle. Something that I usually recommend to my clients is when you wake up in the morning, at lunch, after lunch, in the evening when you finish work, just have that was good by the way, 5 to 10 minutes of just taking those deep breaths in. Can we try it together real quick? Yeah? So we're gonna go in 3, two, one. How did that feel? Sleepy. I felt better because I've been stressed for now 20 minutes up here. So these are the things that I usually recommend to my client because it keeps us centered. You know, when you start your days, when you have long meetings, when you teach classes, when you need to move here and there, you don't stop. And so that stress is always high up here. And then you stay stressed for the entire day. Nighttime comes, you go back home, your body finally sits down, it feels like you're at rest, and then what happens? Hunger, craving, lack of motivation, smoking, whatever kind of things your body feels like you need it. So that's why it's really important, okay? Have those breaks during the day where you just take the tension down. This is really gonna be important, right? The next hack is gonna be to set boundaries and to protect your focus. This is something that again I set up with most of my busy clients and even the not busy one. It can always be good to protect your mental health. So I personally, my phone is always on silent because I don't want to see anything. Like I don't want to see the bing, 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 bing here and there, always texting me. And also I work online 90% of the time, so my phone never stops. So one thing I do to protect my focus is I leave it on silent. I am the one who want to have that control on when I change and I get distracted. Because it's just those things that sometimes we don't know. We don't know at which moment some sort of message can come. Like, hey, this person died. Like, hey, when your partner sends you a message, I need to talk to you tonight. You know you're in trouble. So when you see those kind of things, it already ruins your day. So it's really important for you to stay locked in and to set boundaries. It does not have to be about your phone. It can be about no meetings before a certain time. It can be about cutting people out if you know that some people are not good for you, or avoid them. It can be about not bringing work home. This can avoid emotional ups and downs. And then the next thing is going to be one full day of recovery per week, right? Try to have that for yourself. Take care of yourself. Do not do anything if it is possible. Just be lazy. Watch a movie. Go for a massage. Anything to help you reset before you start the next week. Okay? And so this is something that's really important in my coaching program. I do not teach anything to my clients. I do not teach them nutrition, diet, or workout without them at least mastering those things. So that's why until now I still didn't speak about nutrition, because the reality is that I could teach you guys all the theories, but if we don't work on having at least that control on our lives, having that control on our decisions, and making our body and mind feel safe enough, we are never going to be in the mood to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. So those kind of things are really important, okay? Now, assuming that we are going to take care of ourselves and really be serious about stress management, how to eat to balance our stress? Carbohydrates, one word. Carbohydrates usually scare people because most people think that carbohydrates make them gain weight. It has sugar, so it has to be avoided. Rice, noodle, pasta. And so what happens really is whatever you eat and that is too much from what your body needs is what makes you gain weight. So that means that one bowl of rice is not going to make you gain weight. But the problem with people is it's 5 bowls of rice in a day. It's a lot of noodles. It's a lot of pasta. That's the problem. So I don't want you guys to fear carbohydrates. In fact, if you eat them, the right ones, by the way, quinoa, rice, etc., etc., in the right amount, good things happen. First thing is your thyroid function improve. So the thyroid is something that is right here, okay? It's something that regulates how healthy you are, to make it really simple. It's currently super cold here in Beijing. People with a healthy thyroid are gonna fall sick less often, and they are gonna feel cold lesser when they're at home, because that's how healthy this is. And carbohydrates are a food that actually help with thyroid function. The second thing is it regulates serotonin. It keeps you happy, basically, right? The third thing that it does is it keeps glucose stable. So that means that if you have the right carbs, you can avoid those energy crashes. Maybe we have already had that feeling like, hey, I just had a meal, lunchtime, then after 1 hour, 2 hours, I'm super sleepy. Those kinds of things can be avoided if you eat, again, the right carbs in the right amount, and carbs also act directly against cortisol. So I'm not the type to, like, something I teach to people is, I'm never gonna tell you to eliminate or restrict a food group. I'm gonna teach you what they do if they are used properly so that you can fuel from them and just live your life eating what you want in a strategic way. So this is what carbohydrates do. If you're someone who has a lot of stress in the day, who does a lot of things, who does a lot of workouts too, by the way, carbs are gonna be helpful, okay? And how many carbs you need to eat in a day? This is the simple answer. Look at your fist, and this is pretty much how much, let's say, rice, a portion of rice, or a portion of bread, a portion of pasta. Two of that is the easy way for you to know how to eat. Don't go like after this seminar, you're gonna think, oh, Christian told me to eat carbs, so I'm gonna have a whole bowl of noodles. That's not what I want you guys to do. This is what we want to do, okay? And so, summary. Now we know that sleeping early and sleeping enough is really important. Anything that I'm gonna teach you guys today, if you don't work on this, then you're always gonna be behind, okay? Second thing is mindfulness, stress management, setting boundaries. Do not avoid carbs, okay? Everybody still okay so far? Great. Just a minute, I need to drink more water. How much time have I left? She said it's fine, so you guys are gonna stay here until tonight. Okay, guys, so now we are at the second part of the seminar. Now we're gonna dive more and more and more into nutrition. This is the fun part. Nutrition for energy, appetite control, and weight loss. And before I go into food in itself, I'm gonna speak about beverage first, because something I do is I like to find easy things for people to already get big benefits and returns. So I'm not gonna tell you guys about nutrition because I feel like from experience it's just a hard thing to change. To me, telling someone, hey, now you're gonna restrict this food, it's so much effort. I prefer to start down here on the ladder of effort. So what we are gonna speak about is, by the way, this could be hard too, but here we go. So caffeine. Caffeine is what busy people usually drink to get going, and it does help, okay? I'm not here to trash caffeine. I drink coffee myself. I drank coffee this morning. But what happens is that the person who drinks coffee in the morning usually drinks another cup at lunch, let's say lunch, and then they drink another cup around the afternoon, and maybe another cup at night, or some way, shape, or form, something similar to that. So that is where tricky things start to happen, because now you become wired and tired. You need to know that caffeine makes you feel good, not because it gives you energy, but because it increases your cortisol, remember? Increases your dopamine and adrenaline. So to make it really simple, when you drink caffeine while you are tired, you just become a tired person who is stimulated. So you don't actually technically eliminate fatigue. You're still tired, but your mind is just still awake. And obviously caffeine crashes. So what happens is the more you drink caffeine, the more it circulates in your blood, the more hard the crash. So you feel even less like yourself. And also, sleep is going to be severely impacted. That's the tricky part about caffeine. So something I recommend to everybody, it's always a hard conversation when I try to teach this to my female clients. For some reason, they like their latte, they like their frappuccino. It's a very hard conversation, but I'm here to do my job. So hopefully you guys take this information. All right. So black coffee, nothing else. I know, sucks. Who drinks black coffee, by the way? By show of hands. Black coffee. Who drinks coffee? Who drinks latte? Anything like that? She's raised her hand all the time. Latte, okay. Who drinks like maybe milk, tea, those kinds of things? All right, great. So for the coffee drinkers, what's better is black coffee 60 minutes after waking up, and make sure to drink some water before. It's really important. And no coffee after 3 p.m. For those of you who drink milk and who drink tea, depending on the type of tea, so I guess additional tips for you guys is black tea, green tea, gray tea, those kinds of things can be good to stimulate you and to wake you up in the morning. I would just avoid from having them around evening time because they have a bit of caffeine in them, so they keep you awake. If you want to utilize tea to sleep, then I would say chamomile is the best type of tea, and also some sort of hot milk. So just the additional tip for you guys, because I realize that not everybody here drinks coffee. And again, coffee, tea, and whatever is really important because that's just like what I said, the more caffeine, the more risk of fatigue, the more risk of low mood, hunger, and bad sleep. So we need to work on that, okay? Very often, when I have clients who come to me and who say, hey, I feel tired, I don't have motivation, I feel low mood, I have hunger all the time. It's not always more discipline or a new program that they need, but it's just proper hydration. Most of us don't drink enough water from what I saw from experience. Is strategic carb intake. Do not fear carb. Do not go away from them. Also choose the right one. Is boundaries within our personal life, because whatever happens in your personal life affect your clarity and your ability to make good decisions for your own well-being, stress management routine, and good sleep. By now, guys, I can assure you, if you just do these things, you'll start to feel better in less than a week. If you just work hard on those, you don't need to do anything advanced. You just need to work on those as simple as they are, and you will start to feel better, okay? And now the next piece of the puzzle is hunger and craving. So, who usually deal with that here from time to time? Two hands. Anybody has that? You know that hunger from time to time, like, oh, I need a specific type of food. Oh, I need to go over there at this specific restaurant right here. That happens to all of us from time to time. And something that I've learned is that that is usually the type of thing that happens because of a deficit. There's always some form of thing that is not enough, okay? And it's 5 types of deficit, what I usually saw. So next time you feel like your stomach makes noise, or next time you feel like you want that very tasty, flavory, super, super yummy type of meal, then it's usually because of something. It's not because of a lack of discipline or because of any other reason, but these are the reasons. Oops. Deficit of activity. Most of us are just bored. So go get some things done, all right? The second thing is deficit of sleep and rest. The third thing is deficit of hydration. The fourth thing is deficit of satiety. So these 3 points, now you guys can understand a little bit why we spoke about this in the first part of the event, because just by working on your sleep, hydration, and just by working on your stress, you are putting yourself in a position where you are going to be in control of your diet. Because the hard thing and the hard part about your diet is, again, craving. Sometimes it's also just consistency, repeating it every day. Sometimes it's the fact of having to cook. Sometimes it's the fact of having to say no from time to time when people give you a snack at work. And so if you sort out those things, your set of mind and also your way of thinking is going to be more inclined to make good choices, and things are going to become more easier for you. But assuming that you've worked on those and you still feel hungry, then here comes the biggest thing that I've seen after 7 years of coaching, which is a deficit of protein. No person that I've ever coached has ever had a good intake of protein in a day. For some reason, carbs and fats, bread, pasta, rice, those kinds of things, it's never hard to eat those. But to eat the other part that is also important is usually hard. That's something that I've found. So I want you guys to think of, and that's also one of the things that I focus on in the first phase of my program. No diet, nothing advanced, just learning to eat enough protein. And this is important because think of your body as if it was a car, okay? The body needs parts, new equipment, or maintenance. That can happen every 3 to 6 months or even every year, once a year. But what happens with your body is, me right here, right now, something is happening, right? Your body needs maintenance every day, basically, for muscles, organs, bones, skin, hair, joints. If you look at yourself in the mirror, everything that you see is made out of protein. So that makes us realize that whatever you want to build on your body, it is really important to eat the right amount of protein, which what I saw, again from experience, has not been the case for everybody. So, and also it becomes even more important if you want to lose body fat, if you're currently trying to, just look better, right? If you want to look great and fit, if you do lots of workout, if you want to burn more calories at rest, but that's more for people who really want to change their body. Even if you don't want to change your body, know that your body always is recycling things inside for which you need to always improve and stick to a good protein intake. And really, guys, if you were to take only one lesson out of today's seminar, it will be this protein lesson right here. Maybe the sleep and the protein lesson, because you just do those two things and you will be set. For example, showing you guys my client here, his name is Adam. We worked together for 2 years and he lost 20 kg without cutting out food, without doing any diet, and without going to the gym every day. None of that. He just lost 20 kg like that. He said right here, Christian showed me the areas of my lifestyle that could bring about instant impact. I was shocked at how easy the changes were to make. What he's speaking about right now is everything that I've spoken about so far. Sleep, stress management, high protein intake, pretty much becoming more in control of your life. And so when I tell you guys that sometimes it can be as simple as just eating more protein and doing all of the things that I spoke about today, it's really true. For Adam, it was true. For Annelie, it was true as well. A very hardworking woman. She doesn't stop. She does a lot of things in a day. We were able to help her lose weight without necessarily stopping social eating and occasional drinks on the weekend, because that's something that was really important for her. I did not want to take that away from her. I just taught her how to approach the entire week in a way where she'll still be able to enjoy but lose weight at the same time. Protein, that's all that we did. So protein intake, whatever goals you have, that's going to be the most important piece, and also for many other clients. So it kind of worked. That's all I'm going to say, right? And so now the question that we have might be, how much protein in a day? Here we come. At least 2 to 4 times per day, have a meal that has this size of protein, but 2 times. So this is kind of the same as chicken breast, or also the same as a serving of tofu or something like that, okay? And so now we know that we need to have this amount of protein 2 times, we need to have this amount of carbs, and I know that we did not speak about fruits, veggies, and all kinds of things, because again, timing was pretty short, so I could not fit everything in, but I have something for you guys, which is gonna be a way of using AI to build your own meal plan, all right? So this is pretty long, so I recommend everybody to maybe take a picture or just ask me later and I'll send it to you. What you do with AI is you're gonna give it your age, your gender, your height, your weight. You're gonna tell AI how active you are. Like, hey, I average XXX steps in a day. I do this amount of workout. I want you to calculate my ideal body weight. Okay, we all have an ideal body weight. Like I personally am 183 centimeters. My current body weight is 85. My ideal body weight, according to calculations, is 83. But 3 kg, I'll take that. We all have an ideal body weight, which you need to find. Tell AI to find it, and then it is going to calculate your ideal protein intake, your ideal carbs and fat intake. Then the most important part is going to be to tell it to create a meal plan with some ingredients that you have in your house. So this is what I love so much about AI, because it makes things so easy. But something about AI is you also need to give it precise information and precise instruction for it to give you precise results. So again, I could not go into how I exactly do things, but this will get you there. If you just want to get started, eat healthy, have an idea of what to do, how much to eat in your plate, this will get you there, and that's going to already help you make results, in addition to, again, all of the habits that we spoke about today. So now we have a solid meal plan that is made for our age, weight, height, level of activity. It is going to be anti-cravings and hunger, anti-stress. Now we also know that sleep and self-care and recovery is important. Now we have systems during the day that helps us regain control. We don't let anything bother us. We stay focused on ourselves and on our goals. And by the way, it's not a bad thing to do that. Because sometimes this happens usually when I coach parents. Sometimes it's hard to just take 30 minutes or 45 minutes of yourself to go work out. But I tell them, hey, if you don't take care of yourselves, if you don't pour energy into yourself, you'll not have energy to pour into others after that. So everything starts with you. It's really important. Okay. Now we know that mindfulness, hydration, and caffeine is super important. If there is still time, so I'm gonna give you guys two options because I think I'm already over time here. We can either stop here and I can take some questions, maybe give you guys some form of personalized tips, or we can talk about supplements real quick. So the choice is up to you guys. What would you guys wanna hear at this point? Or you guys are tired of me? So what do we do? Supplements or Q&A? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me just finish with supplements then. So as you can see here, it's not a magic potion. That's the first thing. Sometimes you have people who ask and also who speak about supplement as if it was the main thing that helped them change, but it's not the case. You cannot just throw supplements on top of a lifestyle that is up and down. That's not going to help. But one thing you can do is, again, go back to all the changes that we spoke about, all the effort, and then add some supplement on top of it. So I guess the first thing to know about supplements is that it's made to supply, okay? And the second thing to know is that there are specific supplements for specific things. So I personally usually recommend, here we go. What I usually recommend for sleep and stress support is magnesium, zinc, and ashwagandha. All right. If someone struggles with their sleep, like if they cannot fall asleep, if they struggle to stay asleep and go into deep sleep, these supplements can help. Again, I'm gonna go quickly into them. You guys can have a chat with me later if you'd like to know more. What I recommend for focus and energy is some form of vitamin D3, electrolyte, creatine, and omega-3. Omega-3, by the way, whoever, no matter what your goals are, you are supposed to have them because it's something that your body does not produce, while omega-3 helps your body create cholesterol which helps your body create hormones. And the hormones, we already know by now, testosterone, all of that good stuff is pretty important to improve, okay? So omega-3 will be my kind of essential, important. Anything else, you're not obliged to have them. But whenever I hear a client who also tell me about digestion and gut health, I recommend probiotics, digestive enzyme, and zinc. So that's pretty much, I would say, some supplements that can help. But again, very important, they are called supplements for a reason. I still need everybody to work on their sleep, their food habits, their protein intake, putting together a solid meal plan. Then the supplements can help after that. And that's how you can add, let's say, 5 to 10% of progress to your lifestyle. Okay, guys? So that's pretty much what I had top of my mind today. Again, it was really hard to get to speak about exactly everything that I know, but what I brought today is what I believe are the big cornerstones, the big pillars that if anyone works on them, we can already see some sort of improvement. So I don't know if there's still time for Q&A, but that's pretty much the end. Thank you all for your attention.